Can I ask, is that your relationship with Jack? Do you have an open relationship?
Jack and I really enjoy just putting our attention on one another. Um, I don't know what the future may hold. I feel a tremendous amount of satisfaction through just exploring my fantasies and my characters on paper, and just kind of putting them into these wonderful, delicious stories. And I do sometimes wonder, like, if I was having some of these experiences in quote unquote real life, how would that influence my writing? Would it enrich my writing? And I actually don't know that it would. I'm not necessarily against the idea of having some kind of explorations with Jack in the future in an agreeable way, but I also don't necessarily hold that as a desire for myself. I love the heat that he and I generate together, and I think, like any regular relationship, that heat kind of comes and goes, but I always can come back to the passion that I feel when I'm writing, and I feel tremendously fulfilled through reading and writing erotica.
Great. Now I know there's this. I'm pretty sure the word for it is polyamory. I think.
Yeah, it's kind of big here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah. What, well, first explain to everyone what that is, and then we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think it's successful? Can people actually? Okay, because there's a lot of feelings that come up.
There's a lot of feelings. So polyamory was a word or phrase was coined a number of years back. I can't remember the author. I'm kicking myself right now for not being able to quote who it was, but probably there are many people listening to this that will be like, it's so-and-so. How can you not remember? But it basically means to love more than one person, to many amory, many loves, or many lovers, I guess. I think in the Bay Area and maybe other places that has come to be synonymous with what I call polyfuckery, which is exactly what it sounds like. Polyamory, I think true polyamory, to be able to love more than one person at the same time and explore like a sustainable, ongoing relationship with those people, multiple people, is something that I think is possible. There is a wonderful book called The Ethical Slut that is kind of like a mix of stories from this woman who has these experiences of having many lovers or more than one lover. So it's done. People do it. I also don't see a lot of like 3-way or 4-way marriages, if you will, like people that kind of engage in committed long-term relationships of 3 or more people that are still together to celebrate their 5-year anniversary. So how sustainable it is, certainly there are couples that have engaged, happily married couples that I hear about and know that have been together for a long time. I also realize that I'm young, but yeah, it seems a little bit, where am I going with this? It can also look a lot like swinging, so I guess it depends on how a couple defines what they're doing and what their expectations are, and whether they're really realistic. I don't know.
I imagine that if you go the route of thinking that the relationship that is sustainable is only sustainable if there are no secrets, it must be harder to have like 2 lovers or 3 lovers and keep no secrets from all of them, just because, say for accident, but by accident you talk about one of your lovers to another, and you may mention something you don't like quite as much, but then now you're keeping that a secret from that original lover,
like the buildup of withholds that aren't necessarily like conscious decisions to keep information away from these people, but like there are innately maybe secrets or confidential communications or confidential sharing between people that maybe it's ends up not being okay to then share that or blab about it with another lover. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting territory. I mean, I think innately being in relationship requires a lot of communication. So being in a relationship with multiple people, I think if it is to be successful, requires a tremendous amount of communication and a tremendous willingness to have a lot of really open and maybe sometimes uncomfortable communication. So I could see it being actually a really interesting, like almost like a spiritual practice, which might be the way some people look at it, of like an expanded version of being in a relationship, like the ultimate relationship experience, you know. It's like the intensity of being a couple is, you know, like, yeah, I feel that there's a lot to work through just with two people, so to amplify that with a third person or a fourth person, yeah, that's in a way I have some respect for people that do that and pull it off over a number of years.
Would you say that would make swinging easier since you never see them again? Or?
Right. Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess if I think about swinging, it's almost like this distinction between porn, erotica, and erotic romance. Like, where swinging would just maybe more be about the arousal and less about moving the story forward or contributing to the character's growth or contributing to the relationship of the original two people. Yeah.
So it might be easier to have that because you never see them again, but it may not be nearly as fulfilling because it's just sex. It's not this emotional connection.
Right. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I mean, I think living in the Bay Area, we are kind of surrounded by, you know, I guess what I was about to say was, I know as a woman, and the women I know, it seems like for the most part in real life, in our relationships, we're wanting emotional fulfillment and an emotional like sharing. And so I could understand if I was a woman in a polyamorous relationship wanting to maybe have a lover that I could also be emotionally involved with. As I was saying that, as I was kind of about to say that about women, I was like, well, you know, we live in the Bay Area where there are a lot of men that are very in touch with their emotions and very, I think, appreciate and enjoy emotional bonding, and are kind of keyed into that conversation, talking openly about their emotions. So maybe men want that too. Maybe,
but they have boyfriends. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know if the whole conversation of being swinging versus polyamory being emotionally fulfilling or not is different for men or women in general. I'm not sure. That'd be an interesting like panel discussion.
Yeah. That'll be in your next book.
Yeah.